Mutt for America coming to you from the Empire States of America, where last week 61-year-old Gary Willis of Maryland was shot and killed during the execution of a red flag gun confiscation order. Red flag gun confiscation protection law came into effect on October 1st of this year in Maryland, and so far there have been 19 executions that have taken place, with over 1,300 more expected by the end of this year. Mr. Willis was awakened at 5 o'clock in the morning by a pounding at the door, and he answered the door with his pistol in his hand. Upon learning that it was police officers, he put his gun down and began to talk with the officers. Once he learned that the officers were there to take his gun, according to sources, he was quoted to have become irate. Sources like Breitbart.com, sources like CBS.com, many sources. There are numerous articles on this, but to be perfectly honest with you, I don't understand why this particular story is not everywhere. Well, once he realized that they were there to take his guns away, he picked his pistol back up and stood in defiance. At this point, the officers took it upon themselves to not diffuse the situation and try to talk him down, but to instead become physical with him and try to wrestle the gun away from him, at which point the gun accidentally went off, striking no one. But it prompted one of the officers, they're not saying who, they're not releasing the names of either of the officers involved, and they also have not released any body cam footage or recorded video of audio of any kind. But one of the officers did pull his gun in retaliation to the shot that went off that struck no one, and he fired his weapon at Mr. Willis and shot him, killed him. This man was murdered, by all that I can see, in his own home for no apparent reason, having committed no apparent crime. The sources like Breitbart.com say that it was his sister that reported him as being potentially unsafe to own a weapon. According to the law, it takes a health professional, family member, or law enforcement official to, determine that you are unfit and then to go forth and file a report. But the Baltimore Sun released an article where it was suggested that pretty much anyone can file the report, and that's a direct quote. Breitbart.com quoted the police spokesperson as saying that once the order has been given, the report has been made, the order will be given, rather, and after that point, the police officers have no discretion on how to act. They must carry out the order. I disagree with that. It's called the Constitution. That is your discretion to not follow an unconstitutional order. A case back in 1803 clearly states that any law passed repugnant or in disagreement with the United States Constitution is immediately null and void. Therefore, any law restricting the Second Amendment is null and void. This was an illegal search and seizure of this person. This was murder by the best way that I can see it. As a concerned American citizen, I am demanding that the body cam footage, if any exists, which hopefully there is, be released. That any and all audio, video recordings of the incident be released. That the names of all officers in question be released so that we can ascertain what kind of people they are. And it should also be called into question, why was the plan made the way that the plan was made? And what I mean by that, what I'm simply asking is why did it seem proper to go to a man's residence that was in his 60s and living home alone and bang on his door at 5 o'clock in the morning, putting him in an immediate panic? Why did they not try to talk him down? If there was more than one officer what kept them from creating space between themselves and Mr. Willis, one person trying to talk him down while the other person called for backup or anything. This man did not have to die. His own niece was quoted as saying, he spoke his mind, but he was mostly harmless. Anybody who is for the Constitution, it doesn't matter if you're pro-gun, thinking about guns, thinking about maybe we should do something with, high-capacity magazines or anything like that. You need to understand that this is very much an attack on our rights as American citizens. This is very much an Empire Strikes Back type of situation. It could happen anywhere if it happened there. It could happen to anyone if it happened to this person. So I'm asking for all the true patriots, all the true American citizens who believe in the right to defend their home, their family, their faith, and their country, to request or demand the same thing that I'm requesting or demanding. That a thorough investigation be brought into this, and that if there is any evidence of impropriety, that the perpetrators of that impropriety be brought to justice under the fullest extent of the law that they themselves have sworn to uphold, defend, and carry out. Mutt for America. Hit me up if you got something to say. I'll holler at you another time.